Hi, this is Bill Uren. What I'm about to discuss is service virtualization. This is a two-part series of service virtualization, and we're going to be discussing virtualizing a service and creating a service from scratch. At this instance, I'm going to discuss part one of the series. The application architecture will start from the channels. So basically, the channels will be calling the application itself. It can be a laptop, from a tablet, or a mobile phone. And the front end application will be represented a desktop application. And the service virtualization basically acts as a middle layer between the member accounts and the health insurance app. So basically, the member account is the API, which is supposedly directly communicating with the health insurance app, and the service virtualization as the middle layer will be recording and learning the behavior of of the member accounts. So uh, whenever the member account stops, so the continuity of the application will not stop because the service virtualization, which is a virtual member account, will be providing the data for the health insurance app on the absence of the member account services. At this instance, I'll be demoing the REST protocol, although the service virtualization is actually um, supporting different types of protocols, but at this instance, we'll be demoing of the REST protocol. Now let's open the folder. Now, service virtualization has different editions, and on the community edition, you can also get the SV demos upon installation. So you could grab all the sample applications and services, and within different protocols, you could actually test the application and the services using service virtualization. And at this demo, we'll be demoing REST. So I'm going to be using claim processing REST demo. So this will be composed of a README file. So this will be the instructions of how to use service virtualization. So it has a step-to-step guide, the use case. Press exit, and we can either choose to run a JSON or an XML format. Now let's minimize this folder. Let's open Service Virtualization Designer. And at this instance, the version we're working at is 5.1.1 of Service Virtualization. Now, upon load of the IDE, as you can see, if you go to Get Started tab, you can actually use different types of projects. And if you go to the right, these are the sample projects which are shown earlier, but these are all pre-configured projects. But now we're gonna be um, creating a virtualized service from scratch. So I'll go to File, New, Virtualization Project. Let's change the project name. So let's say SV Demo REST. Let's press Save, Create. Now, as you can see on the left, we have an embedded server. So this will be the host for the services which will be created. Now, if I right click, we can actually change the server itself and point it to the SV server. But at this instance, we're going to be using the embedded server instead because of the size of the application. Now, let's create a service. Right click, add virtual service. Now, what we're showing is a service description where we're going to be shaping up the objects of the API or service. And SV supports Swagger objects if you have Swagger installed. And now we're going to be using without a service description since we're going to be virtualizing an existing service. Press next. Now, these are all the protocols which are supported. As you can see, it also supports MQ, Java, REST, SAT, SOAP, Swift, WebSphere, MQ. It's quite huge support for protocols. Now we're going to be using REST. I'm going to choosing REST. Press next. At this instance, the agent used by the new service. So we have three right now. We can choose either the HTTP gateway, since it's going to be a small application, and we can either use the HTTP proxy. So instead of pointing to a corporate network using a corporate proxy, we can use and point it to the proxy to service virtualization. So all the traffic will go through SV. It also has a HTTPS gateway, so we could choose that. But this now we're gonna be choosing HTTP gateway. And now we need to get the endpoint to be virtualized, the real service. Now, uh, let's run the application itself. So, so right now, we have the main app, the health insurance app, and we have the claim processing service, which run behind the health insurance app. And we have the members account service, which provides the members data, metadata. So let's copy the API itself. Copy that. Go back to SV. Paste the um, endpoint that we're going to be virtualizing. Press next. Now we have the REST service, the virtualized service, and the real service. Now let's press virtualize. Now virtualization is now successful. As you can see, right now we have the SV, which is on standby mode, and as we go back to the main application itself, enter a claim. It's just working fine. Press next to enter a claim. It just works fine. Now, um, now to be able to get the SV working with the application itself, we will need to copy the endpoint of the virtualized service. Copy that and replace the service, which will be in the application itself. Right. So in this case, I already placed the service earlier. So it's this point here. I'll place the endpoint. So it's a variable in this instance on this batch file. So press exit. Don't save because it's already existing. Now if you go back to the application. Now since we actually placed the virtualized service in the application itself, so the traffic between the application, which is the claim processing service, and the member accounts are going through the SV already. As you can see, there's already 16 messages which has been recorded. If I press enter, next it comes to 24, press enter. Now it comes to 29, press next, enter again. Now if I start learning, so now we're going to be learning the behavior of the application itself. So let's go back. So as you can see, the claiming processing service, member account service are still running. Enter claim. As you can see, 6 messages has been learned. Press next. So learning 8 messages, 9 messages, press next, press next. So next again. Now 22 messages has been learned. Now let's switch off the members account service right now. Answer. Now there's a very slow response because it was looking for the members account service. Now as you can see, the error here, unable to create claim. So the dependency to the service, to the member accounts has been lost. Now SV will now act as the API and replace the member accounts by our virtualized service. So how are we going to do that? So let's stop the learning. Okay. Now that the learning has stopped, before I show you the simulation, I will show you what has been recorded. If we go to the REST service, drop down data models, then we go to REST data model. Now we go to the learn data. Here you can see all the data which has been captured from the HTTP request up to the HTTP response. So can be a put, a get right now. So there's a get which is a 200. I mean get which is a HTTP put. So we have a response 200 with a get method. Now, if you would like to understand more of the data, because right now it is pure plain headers and response. So if we go to the columns tab, change columns, so we can actually view the requested data. So let's check the parameters: first name, last name, social security number. So let's get that for now. And most likely on the response, we would like to know, let's say, change this to JSON. Now we have more visibility of the data itself. JSON type. Okay. Now, upon changing JSON type, we can actually get the name. So let's get the name. Uh, what else do we want? So let's get the address. Okay. So let's make it small, city and country. And from here, let's press OK. Now, as you can see, drag this to the left so we could view more. So we could actually see the city and the response and the address itself from the request. So from the endpoint, which is accounts /3/detail, so it's giving the detail of Colorado and the country. Now, let's say we would like to manipulate the data. So from here, we can actually change it. For test. Okay, tab. Now, so we just managed to change the data, the response for the request. Now let's go back to the main page. Imagine having the capability, how easy it is to record the data and be able to manipulate the response itself within the virtualized environment, the continuity of the test and continuity of the development. So we may be testing a certain endpoint on an API, and from there we get to test the response and 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 having that capability in a short period of time of testing the endpoint itself. Now let's start simulating. Now upon simulation, let's go back to the app itself. The last time we were having errors because of the absence of the member accounts service. Let's go back. The main page, which has been learned. Now press enter claim. Now we have something back. So need further approval. As you can see, enter claim. So right now, uh, SV is acting as the endpoint which is being consumed by the claim processing service. Thank you so much for watching my channel. I hope you continue watching um, my series for service virtualization.